What if I told you that after 4 years of bitter silence, secret phone calls that went unanswered, and a relationship so broken it seemed beyond repair, Prince Harry and King Charles might actually be on the verge of something extraordinary? Welcome back to Meghan and Harry Tales. I'm Adrian, and the royal tea I'm about to spill today is piping hot. We're talking about clandestine meetings in exclusive London clubs, behind-the-scenes negotiations that sound like diplomatic summits, and a potential father-son reunion that could change everything we thought we knew about this family feud. But here's the million-pound question. Is this genuine reconciliation, or the most sophisticated royal PR move we've ever witnessed? Buckle up, because we're about to dissect every detail of what might be the most important royal story of 2025. To understand where we are now, we need to remember how we got here. The relationship between Harry and Charles has been deteriorating for years, but it reached a breaking point in 2020 when Harry and Meghan stepped down as senior working royals. The wounds deepened with every public revelation. First, there was the Oprah interview in March 2021, where Harry revealed that Charles had stopped taking his calls and cut him off financially. Then came Harry's memoir, Spare, in January 2023, which painted Charles as emotionally distant and revealed private conversations that should have stayed private. The breaking point seemed to be when Harry described how Charles had allegedly made that comment about Archie's skin colour, though he later clarified it wasn't Charles or William who made the remark. But the damage was done. Trust was shattered. For nearly 4 years, father and son barely spoke. Harry moved to California, started his new life, and it seemed like the gulf between them was unbridgeable. Charles became king, dealing with his own health challenges, while Harry watched from afar. But then, in February 2024, everything changed when Charles was diagnosed with cancer. When news of Charles's cancer diagnosis broke, Harry didn't hesitate. Despite all the bitterness, all the public feuding, he immediately booked a flight to London. In his own words to Good Morning America, "I jumped on a plane and went to see him as soon as I could." That February meeting was brief, reportedly just 30 minutes, but it was significant. For the first time in years, father and son were in the same room, talking face to face. Harry later described feeling grateful for that time, even though it was so short. What's interesting is what Harry said afterward. "I'll stop in and see my family as much as I can." That wasn't just a throwaway comment, that was Harry signalling his willingness to rebuild bridges, despite everything that had happened. But rebuilding a relationship that's been so publicly fractured isn't easy. It requires more than just one 30-minute conversation. It requires systematic effort, trust building, and most importantly, it requires both sides to want it to work. This is where the story gets really interesting. According to reports from the Daily Mail in July, something unprecedented happened behind the scenes. Harry's Chief of Staff, Meredith Maines, and Charles's Communications Secretary, Tobin Andrea, met privately at the Royal Overseas League. Now, this wasn't just any meeting. These are the people who manage the public communications for both camps. They're the ones who've been essentially at war for years, managing competing narratives and damage control. For them to sit down together represents a massive shift. A source described it as casual drinks with no formal agenda. But let's be real. Nothing involving the royal family is ever truly casual. The fact that there was no formal agenda actually makes it more significant, not less. It suggests both sides were genuinely interested in finding common ground, not just negotiating talking points. The source also revealed something crucial. There's a long road ahead, but a channel of communication is now open for the first time in years. Think about that phrase, "for the first time in years." This confirms what many of us suspected, that communication between Harry and Charles's teams had completely broken down. But perhaps the most telling detail is what reportedly came out of this meeting. Harry has apparently agreed to share his official schedule with the royal family. Now, on the surface, this might seem like a small thing, but it's actually huge. Why is Harry sharing his schedule such a big deal? Because it addresses one of the royal family's biggest fears about Harry and Meghan's independent activities, the concern about being overshadowed or blindsided. Remember, the royal family operates like a well-oiled publicity machine. Every appearance, every announcement, every charity visit is carefully coordinated to maximize impact and avoid conflicts. When Harry and Meghan stepped back, they took that coordination with them. Suddenly, Harry could announce a major initiative or make a significant public appearance without anyone in the palace knowing. This created constant anxiety about being upstaged or having mixed messages in the media. By agreeing to share his schedule, Harry is essentially saying, "I don't want to compete with you anymore. I want to work together, or at least work alongside you without causing problems." It's a gesture of good faith that shows he's willing to give up some independence for the sake of family harmony. But it also shows that Harry understands the royal system better than his critics give him credit for. He knows that coordination and communication are essential for this relationship to work. So where does this leave us now? According to People magazine and royal expert Kinsey Schofield, we might see the fruits of this diplomatic effort as early as next month. Harry is expected to return to the UK in September for his WellChild patronage, a charity supporting children with life-limiting conditions that's clearly close to his heart. The timing couldn't be more perfect for a potential reunion with Charles. Kinsey Schofield told Sky News Australia, "It could happen in September, during the WellChild Awards, a quick meet and greet with Charles and Harry, depending on the King's schedule." Now, there's an important caveat here. Charles's schedule will be complicated because the royal family is preparing for President Trump's second UK visit. But here's what's fascinating. If Charles makes time for Harry during this busy period, it would send an incredibly strong signal about his priorities. Think about the symbolism if this happens. Harry, supporting a children's charity that he's passionate about, meeting with his father who's recovering from cancer, while the royal family prepares for a major state visit. It would show Harry as someone who's found his purpose outside the royal system but is still connected to his family. And unlike their February meeting, which was driven by crisis and illness, a September meeting would be proactive, a choice they're both making because they want to rebuild their relationship, not because they have to. But there's an elephant in the room we need to address: Prince William. According to the same People report, Harry's attempts to reach out to William have allegedly gone unanswered. This creates a complicated dynamic. Harry might be making progress with Charles, but the rift with William appears to be even deeper and more stubborn. Some royal watchers suggest that William feels more personally betrayed by Harry's public revelations, particularly the claims about physical altercations and family arguments detailed in Spare. The question is, can Harry rebuild his relationship with Charles while still being estranged from William? And what does this mean for the long-term future of the royal family? It's possible that reconciliation has to happen in stages. Maybe Harry and Charles first, then gradually working toward healing the relationship with William. Or maybe Charles is playing the long game, hoping that healing his own relationship with Harry will eventually create space for the brothers to reconcile too. So what's my take on all of this? I think we're witnessing something genuinely significant, but we need to manage our expectations. The fact that Harry and Charles's teams are talking, that schedules are being shared, and that a face-to-face meeting is being seriously discussed, all of this suggests real progress. But rebuilding trust after such public damage takes time. Harry said it himself. There's a long road ahead. This isn't going to be fixed with one meeting or one grand gesture. It's going to require sustained effort, genuine compromise from both sides, and probably a lot of private conversations that we'll never hear about. But here's what gives me hope. Both men seem to understand that family is more important than pride. Charles's cancer diagnosis was a wake-up call about what really matters. Harry's immediate response to fly to his father's bedside showed that underneath all the hurt and anger, the love is still there. If they do meet in September, it won't be the end of the story, it'll be the beginning of a new chapter. And honestly, that's exactly what this family needs. What do you think? Are you optimistic about Harry and Charles reconciling? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more royal family analysis. I'm Adrian, and I'll see you in the next episode of Meghan and Harry Tales.